NFL Monday Night Football tonight. The Dallas Cowboys home at AT&T Stadium, where they'll take on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cowboys are coming off back-to-back wins at 5-7, but they're only 1-5 at home this year. They'll face a Bengals team that is the number one passing offense led by Joe Burrow, but the Bengals defense is giving up 28 points per game. Sunday in the NFL, Sam Darnold with 5 touchdown passes as Minnesota beat the Atlanta Falcons 42-21. Vikings go to 11-2, while the Eagles win their 9th straight game as they topped Carolina 22-16, now 11-2. Pittsburgh's 10-3. They beat the Browns 27-14. Russell Wilson 2 touchdown passes. And the Rams, in a wild one, they beat the Buffalo Bills 44-42, snapping Buffalo's 7-game win streak. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. With your SportsGrid Sports Flash, I'm Tony Desiri.
Oh no, my phone.
Hear that? It's the sound of a skater dropping her phone and smashing it on the ice. Yep, it's definitely broken. But at Verizon, we got you. For a limited time, trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a new Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus on Unlimited Ultimate and Watch 7 and Tab S9 FE 5G. That's up to $1,900 in value. So you'll save big on 3 great gifts. Only at Verizon. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Up to $1,900 value based on phone, watch, and tablet. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
I'm Tiffany, founder of Harlem Pilates. When I couldn't find Pilates in my neighborhood, I started a studio from my studio apartment. Chase Inc. helped me grow from 1 Pilates studio to 3. Because when you start small, you're going to need some big help.
With the Chase Inc. Business Cash Card, you can earn up to 5% cash back on business essentials, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Winning is no accident.
You gotta be smart about it.
It takes a plan. All centered around expert analysis and trusted information.
That's what you get.
Right here. The Winning Edge. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the 2 best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, listen, I don't know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Forget act like you've been there before.
On the SportsGrid Radio Network, Sirius XM Channel 159.
Forget that you haven't been there before, people. What? We haven't been there before. Why? College football playoff bracket was released yesterday. An action-packed day of NFL action yesterday, which bleeds into tonight. And I'm already out there with action. So if you are listening right now, it's the best hour of your day. It's officially underway. It's Donnie Rightside. It's a solo mission. Kevin a little bit under the weather. So this sets up a big day for me, which means I got to host In-Game Live tonight, Pro Football Edition, which will be myself, and it will be Joe Lisi for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Dallas Cowboys. I already have action out in that game. You know I love to share tickets. Already posted on X, at RightSideVP, a Bet365 parlay tonight in action, ready to rock and roll. We had a great day yesterday. We'll get to that and much, much more. But let's set the table. As I said, exciting college football on Saturday, which led to Sunday morning, the revealing of the college football playoff bracket. The NFL taking shape here as we head down the stretch. Playoff teams that want to be the number 1 seed, some teams getting lucky to win their football games, some teams winning easily in their football games, and away we go. And also, Major League Baseball, the hot stove, none hotter than Mr. Juan Soto out here in these streets signing contracts for north of $750 million. Juan Soto has signed with the New York Mets for 15 years and $765 million, which with escalators, which I don't know why he would need those, could end up with a deal north of $800 million. Absolutely incredible. How did we get to this? Well, Shohei Ohtani led us down this road for getting $700 million. Now Soto goes from the Yankees to the Mets for that amount. Brought this up earlier today on the early line when we opened the show, both myself and Ben Stevens. And I said to myself, you're telling me that the Yankees lost out on Soto over basically $5 million. That's what it looks like, right? Like, wow, what a mercenary Soto is to do that. Understand this, and Kevin always likes when I do this. I like to think of myself as a fly on the wall and say, what actually happened in that circumstance? What happened here? Was it just over $5 million? No, it absolutely was not, people. Understand the way the contract dynamic would be. And if you were in a bidding war or a bidding process, some of you have tried to buy houses over the past couple of years, which is a wild market where everything is going way over ask. If you've ever been to a car auto auction where somebody has to have that car and just continues to bid, the Yankees didn't lose Juan Soto over $5 million. They lost him because of the deep pockets of Steve Cohen that would have never given in no matter what that price point was. We heard weeks ago Soto's starting bids were coming in around $600 million. That was the opening round. So when you see he settles for $765, how did we get there? And if it says the Yankees went as high as $760 and didn't get the deal, and Yankee fans wake up today, that's ridiculous. Let me tell you something now, which I reiterated on the morning show. Steve Cohen would have went to $800 million, $825 million, $850 million, $900 million. Like, they probably started this dance between the Mets and the Yankees a month ago at $600 million. Said, Steve, what are you willing to go for? I'll go 610. And the Yankees go, we'll match that. Then they picked up the phone a day or two later. Now it looks like they got a matched offer, Steve. What do you want? I'll up it another $5 to $10 million. Wait a day or two, the Yankees matched that. Steve Cohen then just goes, you know what? Let me just put an auto marker on this. Every time the Yankees add on to this deal, put me $5 million ahead of the New York Yankees. So once again, Yankee fans, yes, you got outbid, but there was an endless money pit on one side that goes, I'll take this where the ruination of your franchise if you want to sign him, as opposed to me, I have X amount of dollars to spend and burn, and it doesn't matter. I want Juan Soto. I got Juan Soto. So Juan Soto to the Mets, 15 years, $765. Also in this, and Scott Boras is the agent, there is a 5-year out clause for the player himself, not the team. So I even joked and said, if you are a Mets fan, you probably don't even want to see the full 15 years of this deal. He said, why would you? It means he's probably playing good baseball. If Juan Soto is the best player in the National League in the next 5 years while this contract is, he will opt out of that contract, figuring he can get even more money than he's currently getting now, which then if you're the Mets, you have the chance to re-sign him or just say thank you for the $50 million a year that you gave us here over the next 5 years. It was a wonderful deal. We won a World Series. Now we're looking to go elsewhere. Because if he does pick up that option after 5 years, that means the market is bearing not as much as what he thinks he's worth. And maybe he's injured and maybe he's just not living up to the capabilities of that monster contract. And he goes, you know what? There's 10 years left and hundreds of millions of dollars left. Thank you. I'll stay right here in Queens, and I'll take that $50 million a year for the next 10 years, which would equate to $500 million. Is this good for the sport of baseball? Because there is no salary cap structure. And also, this deal is not one of those Dodger deals. Hey, you know what? We'll give you $1 million for the next 2 years, and then we'll backload everything to avoid the salary tax implications, right? They didn't do that. So the smaller market teams that go, we'll never be able to afford a good player again, they live the lap of luxury off of the luxury tax for contracts like Juan Soto going to the New York Mets if they exceed that threshold. So on a day that most fans that wake up and go, I'm a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, I'll never be able to compete. Or I'm a Rays fan, or I'm a Marlins fan, who they choose not to spend any money, or an Oakland Athletics fan, or whatever they're calling them in Sacramento now. Those owners love the fact that Soto got $765 million because down the road, they're going to get supplemented for actually not trying to sign big-time free agents, which is crazy. But that's the baseball structure we live in. Now, how does that change the actual, pennant odds? It does shift things around a little bit. Like you look for a Mets team that was already a decent ball club. The Dodgers to win the World Series, plus 370. The New York Yankees to win the World Series, still coming in at a plus 650 price. The Braves plus 750, Houston plus 1,100, Philadelphia Phillies plus 1,100, and the Mets at a 12-1 price. The NL pennant odds have the Mets at a 6-1 price. The AL pennant still has the Yankees as the favorite. But if you are a Yankees fan right now, and you're saying to yourself, well, where do you go from here? I'm not so sure this was such a disaster to lose one player for that amount of money. Because when you break it down and say, all right, if the Yankees were willing to go to $700 and let's just say $50 million on a ballpark figure, does that mean we're going to hit the market here and get three different players at $250 million apiece to spread out along, say, pitching staff and or an outfield or a power-hitting first baseman, something in that range? Maybe you might be better off. But it's insane. It is insane that one baseball player is making $765 million. It would almost make more sense if it was a quarterback in football or if it was just a star point guard in the NBA or star center, because they have an effect on both sides of the field in basketball. The quarterback's the most important spot in sports. Juan Soto's going to get up 4 times a baseball game and make $765 million. Guys, that's baseball. That's all we're talking about for baseball. Let's get into football. Hot topics all the way around. It's Moneyline, and I'll be right back after this short break.
Sports happens every day. Trust us.
It does.
And we give you the winning edge
Every day. You see where we're going with this?
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
A federal appeals court upheld a law mandating China-based internet company ByteDance to divest TikTok's U.S. operations by January 19th or face a nationwide ban. This update brought to you by Verizon. Both Republican and Democratic lawmakers say TikTok poses a national security threat due to its connections to China, who could allegedly use the app to spy on Americans and harvest personal data. The unanimous ruling by a 3-judge panel rejected TikTok's argument that the law is unconstitutional and violates the First Amendment rights of the 170 million Americans who use the popular social media app. Police say the gunman who killed the CEO of the largest U.S. health insurer likely left New York City on a bus soon after the brazen ambush. He reportedly left something behind, a backpack that was discovered in Central Park. Police still do not know the gunman's name or whereabouts or have a motive for the killing. The FBI announced on Friday it was offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction.
I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
Let's face it, winter can be a hard season. It's cold pretty much all the time. Blizzard. You have to shovel. Another blizzard. You slip on ice. But you know what makes winter suck a little less? Getting a free phone. Join Cricket Nation and get a free Samsung Galaxy A15 5G. Ooh, ouch. Welcome to enjoying more. Welcome to Cricket Nation. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Must open a new line on the $60 unlimited plan. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds, which could be life-changing. I mean, you could put that money towards concert tickets for your daughter to see that singer who sings about painful breakups. And one song will inspire your little beauty to break up with that beast she's dating, Brian. Instead, she'll date someone who's nice and worthy of her love, not someone who addresses you and your spouse as bro. And it's all because you could save money switching at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates.
Let's make something crystal clear. The winning edge has nothing to do with increasing good luck. Luck has nothing to do with it. It's sports gaming strategies and information. You want luck? Flip a coin. You want to win?
Flip it here.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Hurry back, I am yours.
You want luck? Flip a coin. Absolutely not. Handicap unite. We do on Moneyline. Yesterday, we'll get into it. Fantastic day. Sometimes you always remember the bad beats. As I put a tweet out yesterday, we're not going to remember any bad beats because yesterday was a celebration Sunday. As I told you, already put out a play to the people. We'll review that, and there's more action coming tonight. Just wanted to get the quarterbacks out of the way. Use the 30% boost at Bet365. It's out there at Right Side VP right now on X. You can say it. You know, I love to post tickets. I always do that. Make sure it's out well in advance of the game. But this afternoon, we're going to be spending time, including on this show, trying to get some of these other running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers into the mix because I think we got juice tonight. But before we do, hit that action here. for Monday Night Football, let's review what happened in college football this past weekend. Started on Friday night, guys. Boise State UNLV. 21-7, Boise State wins. They're in the college football playoff as champions of the Mountain West Conference here, championship. Solid game with Ashton Jeanty once again. 32 carries. He's a workhorse. 209 and a touchdown on the ground. He's been fantastic. All year was sensational there. They move along. We'll get to the seeding in just a few moments. Army Tulane, the AAC. Army went wild, scored 35 points. You take a look at an unbelievable performance out of Bryson Daly in that game. They win it, but not moving on. They'll play the Army-Navy game this Saturday. Let's get into the Saturday action for the Big Four. The Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 championship. There weren't really any surprises for me from this. Oregon 45, Penn State 37. That was the final. Oregon was the better football team in that game. Penn State tried to make it closer at the end, but well-deserving this season. Oregon is a really good team. Great running backs, great wide receivers, great quarterback, great offensive line, great head coach. They're going to be hell on wheels, and we'll get to where they're seeded in just a little bit. They're the number one overall seed, and rightfully so. Penn State shows up in a game where they were underdogs. You knew they weren't winning that game, and they didn't. So now we take a look and say, all right, Georgia and Texas. How about 22-19 Georgia in that game, winning the SEC after getting their quarterback knocked out at halftime due to an arm injury? That was Carson Beck. Youngster comes in, plays okay football. They win and move forward. Texas, a lot to be desired in that game. 19 points, a lot of passing yards out of Ewers, 358. Not a lot of big-time plays, though. And how about ATN coming back there? 16 carries, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns to win the SEC championship. Georgia moves on as the bye. Texas will now host, as we'll get to those seedings in just a few moments. Clemson and SMU. All eyes were on this game because it was 21-7 at the end of quarter number 1 in the favor of Clemson. 24-7 at the break. This game was a double-digit 2-touchdown lead for most of the way until SMU made a furious comeback to even tie the football game up with 17 unanswered points in the fourth quarter, only to find Clemson knock down a 55-yarder to win that. Jennings at quarterback threw 50 times for 304 yards and 3 touchdowns. Smith, the running back, had 113. Wesco had 143 and 2 touchdowns on the opposite side. But Clemson got the win and was the bid stealer here heading into the college football playoff. SMU still got in. We'll go over that as well. Arizona State, Iowa State, an absolute smash job here by the Sun Devils. Scottaboo, 16 carries, $170 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He was sensational in that game. So Arizona State moves on into the playoff and does get the bye. So let's take a look at what happened on Sunday morning, as if you're watching the SportsGrid Network, as you should be for Pro Football Today. We broke in with live coverage right around noon when that show came off. Now, I got to say this. A lot of people were upset. A lot of people were unhappy with how it turned out as, oh, look at this. Brett McMurphy is scooping things. How dare he do that? And normally I would agree because I'm the type of person that will watch, like we will tonight, together, pro football, Bengals and Cowboys. If I look down at my computer screen, I don't want to see a big touchdown catch by CeeDee Lamb when the Dallas Cowboys are still in the huddle. We usually don't like splashes because that's not a good one there. Also, like if you're just watching on a Sunday afternoon, somebody updates something quicker than what you saw it, that's not fun. And most people say Brett McMurphy, what he did yesterday is ridiculous. How he took the story of SMU is in the college football playoff and Alabama is out. You know why I loved it? Because it wasn't as if we were going to wait or couldn't wait 30 seconds from the opening up of the show. Welcome into today's college football playoff bracket show right here on ESPN. Let's get down to it. The final 12 seed is Clemson. The 11th seed is SMU. Like, oh, wow, SMU got in over Alabama. Like, no, they did it opposite. They strung that out as far as they could until the end of the show to tell you about Alabama and SMU. Shame on them. Do you guys remember? And it was just a few short years ago, it feels like now, where they were like, you know what? We're going to have a 2-hour bracket release on CBS. You're going to watch it all the way through. We're going to go over bracket by bracket and really string this out. And thank goodness there are jackers out there that took that information the minute the show went live and goes, here is the official bracket. Don't waste your time on 2 hours. Those are the spoils. Those are the teases that I absolutely love. So, Brett McMurphy, if you're listening right now, thank you for doing that. Because next time they will learn. Don't dilly-dally. We'll watch a little bit of it. Don't dilly-dally. You want to save SMU and Alabama for 25 minutes into roughly a half-hour show? We're not buying it. Thank you, Brett McMurphy. Knew exactly the information I needed, and we'll wait just to see the playoff seeding after that, which now sits Clemson at Texas, December 21st, 4 p.m., TNT. I'll watch. Maybe. How about that? Game number 2, Tennessee, Ohio State, in the Horseshoe. December 21st, 8 p.m., ABC. Love it. I'll be in front of my couch. Can't wait to watch that game play out. December 21st at noon, SMU is going to travel to Penn State. I like that game, but boy, it could have been a better opponent for me. And yes, SMU does deserve to be in based on the criteria that's having. Close loss to Clemson in the SEC championship game, you can't really downgrade them. Double-digit loss to Clemson, then you might be out. Does the game have juice for me? I'm being honest, not necessarily. Indiana, Notre Dame, I'll watch that one. It's not bad. A lot of juice on the 20th at 8 p.m.? Not necessarily. Maybe game 2s are bigger. There's a lot of flaws in the college football playoff, but they'll work through those over the next couple years. For college football, get ready for the playoff. It's here, people. But I want to get ready for the NFL. Boy, I got a lot to talk about from yesterday, and let's make some money tonight.
We dispense little pearls of wisdom, just like dear old Dad when he secretly let you taste his beer when you were 8 years old. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1934, the National Football League Championship game at the Polo Grounds in New York City became known as the sneaker game between the Bears and Giants.
We won a game by using basketball shoes.
The switch from cleats to sneakers enabled the Giants to score 27 fourth-quarter points, winning the championship 30-13 on the frozen field. For the Chicago Bears, it was their only loss on the season. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Technical University of Munich researchers have developed a pair of robotic pants, sort of like an electric motor bicycle, instead making you walk or run faster. Two artificial tendons connect your thigh to your waist. Adaptive software senses your stride, affecting 18% less load on your body, like you're 20 pounds lighter. Future robotic trousers are planned to help you climb mountains. However, not recommended to use underwater. Follow me at Chicapalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The early line.
I'm watching Atlanta defensively last week, and they were hitting Herbert left and right. If that defense shows up here against Minnesota and does that to Sam Darnold, you can get the Sam Darnold version of Kirk Cousins last week with 4 interceptions. So I think Atlanta is very much alive to not only cover, but win this game outright.
It's the early line with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Don't be that guy. You know the kind. They're superstitious, carry good luck charms, and have extravagant rituals to win. There's an easier way.
Listen to us.
It means carrying 4-leaf clovers everywhere. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Oh, feels good to be on a Monday. Solo Mission, Donnie Rightside right here, Sirius XM Channel 159 on the SportsGrid Network. And boy, do we got some avenues for you today. Because tonight we do have a NFL football game. And you might think to yourself, game means nothing. 2 teams going nowhere. No. No, we got juice tonight. We absolutely got juice tonight. No question about it. Put out a play, which we'll go over in just a few moments here. Looking for some action for the running backs, the tight ends. And all, you know what I'm going to do today, too? Because we're going to handicap this game while we're live on air. But more so than not, I feel like I really need to get down. And I know sometimes when I say things and people jump out there and bet it. But I alluded it to on the early line today. I just don't know how much I want to dip into it. quarter unit, half unit, full unit, but it is a player prop. And also, when you take a look at different books, which I believe is the case, if you take a sack prop on Bet365, a half sack gets the job done. If you take a sack prop on FanDuel, I could be wrong, but I think it might have to be a full sack. So I'm looking right now, and let me just say, because I don't want to say the name yet. Let me just do a little bit of research right now. Hold on. So I'm setting something up here that I'm going to probably bet right now. And it is a defender on one of these teams that I have my eye on tonight. I just want to look to see like what the okay. All right, we're going to go in on this right now. Let me just put the bet in. I'm going to tell you what it is in just a few moments. And yes, over the commercial break, I will wind up and I will bet this. Okay, so we're clear. Let's go here. Let's place this here. Hold on with me. I'm going to get to you guys in just a second. I need this here. I need this here. Okay, that is in. Let me just make sure it clears. The money here. Come on, keep spinning. Balance successful. And we're in. Okay. So not only have I bet today already in this Dallas Cowboys Cincinnati Bengals game, and again, we're going to handicap this a little bit later. I'm going to get to the Sunday slate here that we're going to work through in just a few moments. But if you are watching out there on Twitter, the first parlay I put in for the game tonight at Right Side VP, same game parlay, which was plus 110, but you do get the 30% boost on a same game parlay today on 365. It was Joe Burrow to throw 2 touchdown passes or more, Cooper Rush to have at least 200 yards passing or more tonight, and Cooper Rush to also throw a touchdown. I just wanted to center the quarterbacks separately from everything else because we're going to get to the running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers a little bit later. But I talked about today on the early line. Micah Parsons has been shot out of a cannon since he is now finally healthy. 2 sacks versus the Philadelphia Eagles, even though they lost that game 34-6. They got crushed by Houston 34-10, which he didn't have a sack. Against the Washington Commanders, a win 34-26. He had 2 sacks in that game. Against the New York Giants last week or a week and a half ago on Thanksgiving Day, 1.5 sacks. So I bet now on Bet365, Micah Parsons to record a sack in the Bengals-Cowboys game tonight. I thought the juice was worth it. Minus 130 price. So he even gets a half of a sack on Bet365, shares a sack with somebody. That's going to count as a victory. So we got 2 plays in tonight so far. Once again, Micah Parsons to record a sack at minus 130, which again means a half sack gets the job done. He's been on fire as of late since coming back healthier than what he was to start the year with a couple of those high ankle sprain injuries. And then also, Burrow to throw 2 touchdown passes, Cooper Rush to throw a touchdown pass, and Cooper Rush over 200. That is boosted. So for me, it was a $120 wager, which pays back $291.60. For the Micah Parsons bet, it was $130 wagered to return back $230. So there we go. We're in. We're cooking. This is what Moneyline is supposed to be, handing out information to the people. And I also, during this next commercial break coming up in just a moment, I will screenshot that and send that out at Right Side VP so you have it there. And then what we're going to do after this segment, take a look at what happened yesterday across the NFL landscape, sort of review what we saw looking forward, and then also, as the next couple segments come up, we're going to handicap this Bengals-Cowboys game, and just to get inside some of these numbers that are on the board and ways that we may be able to attack it. You know my style. A lot of these same-game parlays, we're going to be taking those alt lines, not higher, but actually lower to see where they can fit in. I also like a couple wide receivers here, just straight, which I'm going to let you know exactly who that one wide receiver is. And then we're going to take a look at maybe putting together some parlays that we can dumb down some of these wide receivers and or tight ends, put 2 or 3 of them together at a decent price that goes, you know what? This is going to be a dub, baby. This is going to be a dub. Oh, feel the heat. It's a long day. It's a long week for your boy DRS, but I am up to the challenge. Make sure you keep the dial right here. Sirius XM channel 159. It's Moneyline right here on the SportsGrid Network.
Attitude is everything.
Don't say I lost today.
Say I gained powerful insight into why I need to pay attention to SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. The college football playoff bracket was released on Sunday. The 12 teams that will compete for the national championship. Opening round games begin December 20th, going into December 21st. Number 12 Clemson will take on Texas in Austin, with the winner getting Arizona State in the Peach Bowl on New Year's Day. Number 9 Tennessee will take on number 8 Ohio State in Columbus. Both teams went 10-2. Winner of that contest moves on to the Rose Bowl New Year's Day, where they'll get top-seeded Oregon. Number 11 SMU will take on number 6 Penn State. Both teams lost the conference championship games on Saturday. Winner gets Boise State at the Fiesta Bowl in Arizona New Year's Eve. And number 10 Indiana taking on number 7 Notre Dame, an in-state battle in South Bend, with the winner getting number 2 Georgia at the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. With your SportsGrid Sports Flash, I'm Tony Desiri.
I got a line.
He got a line.
She got a line.
We got 4 lines. Cricket Nation, Q finger guns, really easy, super stress-free. 5G so fast, like blazing fast. Games and memes, you'll have a blast. You can get fast 5G across 4 lines. You can get fast 5G across 4 lines. As we discuss, take it from us. We for our one Cricket Nation.
And only $25 a line. Welcome to more lines. Welcome to Cricket Nation. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. Discount varies by line. Fees may apply. Terms and restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
What's the big deal about a rabbit's foot?
I mean, how is that lucky?
Ever seen a bunny amputee on crutches? It's upsetting and scares little kids. Don't rely on luck.
Get the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
All right, just fired that bet up there for the people out there on X at Right Side VP. By the way, thanks you guys out here. SportsGrid On Demand, that's our YouTube watch here. So if you hit the subscribe button, you can watch us live, or watch me live right now on the radio. Get in the chat box, have some fun. To see my guy Jordan Pensili is out there doing right now, celebrating his San Francisco 49ers awakening of the season here with a romping over the Chicago Bears. But also, if you're watching on the app itself, the SportsGrid app, no better place to actually go and get your information. Very easy, clean website. Follow your favorite host here on the Sportsbook Network, just like myself, on the SportsGrid app, whatever apps are available. If you're watching through sportsgridradio.com or sportsgrid.com, fantastic stuff. And as always, as we just talked about on SiriusXM channel 159. Big game tonight. We'll get back to in just a few moments, but I did want to recap what we saw yesterday on the football field all throughout. It was a very profitable day for me. And we'll start right with that game down in South Beach, where I said coming in, you know what? I just want to keep things simple. I have multiple bets in this game between the Jets and the Dolphins. My best bet on Pro Football Today yesterday was Tua Tagovailoa to throw over 1.5 touchdown passes against the Jets. He came into the fourth quarter with no touchdown passes. He left the fourth quarter with 1 touchdown pass. Aha! You lost, Donnie. Oh, what a shame. No, the Dolphins won the toss and drove right down the football field and threw a touchdown pass. Cash in my best bet over 1.5. Play number 2 I had in that game. Over 2.5 touchdown passes between the two football teams, which included Aaron Rodgers and Tua Tagovailoa. That was pretty expensive. I think it was minus 180. I'm like, you know what? Tua's going to have a big day. Aaron Rodgers is going to chip in. We'll have some fun. Well, again, we ended that football game with 2 touchdown passes. But we had overtime, which once again, Tua Tagovailoa throwing a touchdown pass in that game gave us 3 total for the game and 2 for Tua. Bang, bang in overtime. But there was also still one out there hanging around. I don't have my paper in front of me, but it was Jonnu Smith to get 25-plus receiving yards, Tyreek Hill to get 40-plus receiving yards, and Tua Tagovailoa to throw for at least 200 yards in that game. Maybe a minus, I think it was a plus money, minus 134, so I can't remember exactly what it was. I had a couple bet in. But it was a little bit of juice that I paid on that. I said, you got to be kidding me. Jonnu Smith has been an absolute stud for the past couple weeks here in NFL action. He didn't have a catch at the end of regulation. Oh, no. So I lost that parlay as well. Nope. Back-to-back rocket screens. The first one for 20. The second one, I believe, went for over 10 yards. Cashes that ticket right away. So as I always say to people out there, you always put your best foot forward when you're trying to handicap. And I always loved all those tickets were out for me that you could have viewed early in the morning before I even left for the studio. I'm like, man, that stinks. Like, I should have actually won money today. I'm going to end up losing money today. So those bad beats that sometimes you get, the late three-point shot that doesn't mean anything, the catch that was dropped, the yardage that was converted only to be brought back by a penalty, the touchdown that your running back scored on the 1 yard line, that holding call brings it back, and they throw a touchdown pass, or better yet, just kick a field goal and don't even score. We remember this all the way through. But yesterday was one of those days where it's like, you know what? Those breaks and those balances always even out. There's no way I should have won those 3 bets in the Dolphins game, but I did because it went to extra. And we'll take that and move forward. Then feeling frisky at night? How about this one? And this is where it gets great, because I love to talk to you guys about handicapping and, what gets your attention. And every year some things change up, because for me in the past, it was totals for games. It was money lines. It was sides. Then it was team totals. And then my affinity in baseball for RBI props. Now the new market, runs, hits, and RBIs. It's sensational. You try to find and get in where you can, that where you think you can make sense of some of these bets. And the FanDuel Sportsbook is what I use a lot. They don't give me very many bonuses anymore. They cut me off there. But I still think they have decent odds, and it's worth betting on. Bet365, maybe the best book out there, treated me with so much style over the past couple of years. Boosts are always where I need them to be. Clean website here, a lot of different options. But I have started over the past couple of weeks using the Fanatics Sportsbook here in New Jersey, which is basically in the same place as Bet365 and FanDuel are at, because they allow me to go really low on alt numbers. Case in point, yesterday, I identified Sterling Shepard as a wide receiver that I wanted to bet with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. His number was pretty low, 28.5, 29.5, but I said, you know what? I don't even want to risk like a bad day. And sometimes you go, well, Donnie, why don't you just take the over 29.5? He easily got way above that, and he did. But I altered him all the way down to 20 yards. And that was a pricey number. I think it was minus, I want to say 160, 170 in that range. Could have been slightly higher, but it was less than 2-1. I said, you know what? I told the people I like Sterling Shepard today. I got to at least have some action straight on there. So I took him at 20. There's no other books, I don't think, that offer 20-yard props there. Or maybe I think Bet365 might do that at times. But I've been using that book, and even last night I said, you know what? I want to get involved in this game. I thought it was a dead nuts under before that game started between Kansas City and Los Angeles last night. Ended up staying under, a little bit more scoring in the second half. But you saw the way that game was trending. Like, ooh, not a lot out here. And a lot of people reach out, ask me questions in DM. Donnie, what do you think about this night's game? What do you have on that? So, you know what? Let me get cooking. So I went 20 yards on DeAndre Hopkins. I went 20 yards on Xavier Worthy. I also went 20 yards on Quentin Johnston for the Chargers, because Ladd McConkey was out. Oh, he can't drop it. He drops everything. How can you do it? It's just addition by subtraction at that point. You're taking away Ladd McConkey, who's your best wideout. Somebody's got to get the football against the Chiefs. He ended up blowing through that number. And that was plus 143 with a 10% boost there. But you see what I mean? Like, think about that. We all know that they lose, and they do. They're not perfected. But taking two legitimate wide receivers with Patrick Mahomes just to get 20 yards, they did that easily. And the same thing with Quentin, Johnston, where he's not a great wide receiver, but you don't really have too many people to throw to. And then once they got down, they started throwing. And by the way, he technically had his over 20 yards on his first catch of the game, which he caught over the middle, took a shot to the head, which was a 15-yard penalty on a defenseless wide receiver. And then he caught a pass which lost 3 yards. I'm like, don't do this. Like, I had so much good juju in the afternoon with all those vibes flowing from Miami. Don't have me get 21 yards and then have him go back to 18 yards. Don't catch another pass the rest of the game. And also Xavier Worthy and DeAndre Hopkins get over their number. But he caught that before the half. We were done. Got to fall asleep, caught up on the game this morning. But I'm just saying, like, open those avenues for you guys that you like to look forward to, because stretch those boundaries of what you like, because a lot of people, and sometimes rightfully so, they'll just take a 3-leg parlay at the numbers that those guys are at without alting them. Boy, it's hard to go 3-0 in same-game parlays. That's why all of these sports books combined love you to take parlay action because it's hard enough, as we say, just to win one of those games. But I sort of found my little conscience in there by saying to myself, how can I try? And it's not beating the system, again, because these bets will lose. They're not guaranteed winners. But as you enter into games where it's like, okay, my guy needs 66 yards, and you drop him down to 40. And then the other guy needs 78 yards, and you drop him down to 40. Another guy needs 46 yards, and you drop him down to 25. And yes, again, I've lost these bets before multiple times, but you're never out of it at that point. Like Jonnu Smith yesterday, I think finished, I'm not sure, because he caught a touchdown. I think he wound up going over his number. But let's just say I had him in a parlay to get 20 yards, not even 25. You go to overtime, he catches that first pass for I think it was 20 yards even. Like, oh, I cashed that in. That's a miracle. And then you're saying, well, now I need another 25 yards to cash it. How's can he do that? I think he might have actually went over his number, but that second pass, the same exact play, went for another double-digit gain, which was awesome. But you're never out of it in that way. So just, food for thought. Expand those options as you have over the years, right? Team totals, sides and totals, player props. Always look for those angles that you can get on that. You know what? I think this market might be a little bit soft, and I'm going to try to exploit it. Now everything catches back up to you because the FanDuel Sportsbook told me, stop doing that with our boost on our site. You're no longer going from $100 to $200 boost. You are now down to $5 and $10. So sometimes it does hurt, but you still keep pressing on. You're still trying to keep making money. We'll review a little bit of NFL action once again from Sunday, and we'll get to Monday night's football game tonight between the Bengals and the Cowboys. We'll be right back.
Luck is throwing a wad of paper into the trash. Strategy is bouncing it off your coworker's head first.
Hey!
Strategy
is more cool.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. The NBA will continue its in-season tournament, the NBA Cup, on Tuesday night. With two games in the quarterfinals, the Orlando Magic taking on the Milwaukee Bucks, while the Oklahoma City Thunder host the Dallas Mavericks, those two teams tops in the Western Conference. On Wednesday, the quarterfinals continue at Madison Square Garden. The Atlanta Hawks will face the New York Knicks, while the Houston Rockets will meet the Golden State Warriors. The semifinals will take place on Saturday in Las Vegas, with the championship game held also in Las Vegas on Tuesday of next week. In golf, Scottie Scheffler won the Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas on Sunday, finishing with a 9-under par 63, tying the tournament record and winning by 6 shots. Scheffler, who won the Masters Championship as well as an Olympic gold medal, finished the year with 9 victories. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. With your SportsGrid Sports Flash, I'm Tony Desiri.
Old Spice Swagger Holiday Pack, perfect for a gift to treat yourself. 24/7 holiday freshness, with daily use can smell your bestest. I'm gonna be smelling great all season. Old Spice scents just can't be beaten. Chock full of value, saving that green. Got the essentials needed to feel clean. Deodorant, hair, body wash, and spray. Celebrate your holiday the Old Spice way. Ho 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 ho.
The 90s called. They said the Gordita Supreme is so back in the new $7 Lux Cravings box from Taco Bell. It's all looking fresh to death with the pillowy 90s Gordita Supreme alongside the beefy 5-layer burrito, double stacked taco, chips with nacho cheese sauce, and medium drink. All for just $7. It's your wallet's favorite cheesy crunchy combo, here for a limited time. Grab yours and relive the decades, only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact store for price and participation, which varies. Drinks and foods freezes. Tax extra.
Every real player will tell you somewhere
They have an advantage.
it could be either physical, mental, or both. In your case, it's strategies and information you get right here.
The home of the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Moneyline, 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 people. Say it with not Candyman, Candyman, Candyman. It's good things to say Moneyline. We try to win some money. We had a great weekend here. Won some money in college football Saturday, won some money in Sunday NFL action, won some Sunday night NFL money. Now we're looking to do the same here on Monday Night Football. Already out at Right Side VP on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it here. I got 2 plays already put out on Bet365. We're going to look for some more action here to bet. And also, if we don't get to everything we need to do over the next, 15 minutes of this show, you know I'm always got you. Game time a little bit later. Get up in the studio. I'll be tweeting out my plays all through. So make sure you watch Pro Football Tonight in-game live right here on the network, because me and Joe Lisi are going to be getting after it. Kevin's a little bit under the weather, so just me and Joe tonight on the Simpsons episode tonight of the Bengals versus the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of good stuff tonight. But let's recap what happened yesterday. Jaguars-Titans, why even go through it? By the way, my sell me something yesterday was Tony Pollard over 100 yards and a touchdown. He got over 100 yards yesterday, but the Titans only scored 6 points because their quarterback is horrendous, and so is the rest of their football team. Embarrassing effort. We talked about the Dolphins and the Jets, who Aaron Rodgers played every game for this football team. They're 3-10. They just have no idea how to win close games, which means it's a leadership problem on that football team. You're up late in that game. You're supposed to win that game, and they lost it because their special teams was horrible on that final kick return, which allowed me to cash 3 bets. So thank you, Jets, for being terrible, and thank you for the money of that game. And also, Aaron Rodgers did chip in with 1 touchdown pass, which helped me get the 3 total in that game. Vikings and the Falcons. This game, fellas, 21-21 starting the fourth quarter. Final score, 42-21. Kirk Cousins stinks. He throws too much interceptions. Bijan Robinson did his best. Algier did his best here. They ran the football well. They just couldn't get any stops on defense, and their quarterback continues to throw dumb interception after dumb interception. Darnold, 5 touchdown passes, no interceptions, monster days from Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. This Vikings team, this might be the most, and it's unfair to say this, like obsolete shouldn't be the right word. But we don't talk about the Vikings because the Lions are in their same division. Like the Eagles get a lot of headlines. Detroit gets a lot of headlines. Even the Packers get headlines. But it seems like the Vikings just fly under the radar here. Tremendous football team. A lot of fun to watch on offense. And they'll get a chance to have their say in the NFC because they still got a game coming up here against the Detroit Lions. Saints and the Giants, what an abysmal day spending in the Meadowlands yesterday. I mean, a little bit warmer, no precipitation, but you got treated to an absolute stink fest out there. 14-11 Saints, which Derek Carr is probably going to be down for the year at this point, so their season goes up in flames with all the injuries that they have had. Panthers and the Eagles, that was an interesting one because I eyed that up. I lost my favorite touchdown scoring bet of the day on A.J. Brown. Didn't get too many looks. Also had a parlay in that game, which I needed Jalen Hurts to throw a touchdown pass. He threw 2. Also needed Devontae Smith to go over 40 yards receiving. He blew through that. But also needed Saquon Barkley to score a touchdown, and he didn't, even though he got over 100 yards rushing in that game. 20 carries, $124. Now the all-time season leader in rushing yards in Philadelphia Eagles team history, surpassing Wilbert Montgomery and Shady McCoy yesterday. But that 22-16 game, by the way, the Panthers, fighting teams as of late. Xavier Legette, if he can catch the football, they probably would have won that game over the Eagles. Special teams turning into a problem with the Eagles' field goal kicker. Issues on that final drive of the game with Jalen Hurts taking ridiculous sacks, and I don't know what they were doing at the time, taking delay of game penalties instead of calling timeouts. But they escaped that, and they're now 11-2 with the Vikings. The Panthers dropped to 3-10. But I like the way Bryce Young played yesterday. 191 yards, which isn't much. 1 touchdown pass, which actually should have been 2. I thought he played with moxie on the road, under pressure against a pretty good defense. And Allen Thielen still doing it. 9 catches, $102 on that game. Steelers and the Browns, 24-17. Got you back game. The Browns beat the Steelers in the snow, scoring a late touchdown on that one. Steelers get them back. Didn't even need to do too much here. Russell Wilson, not a pedestrian game, but 15-26, $158, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, passer rating of 101. Steelers running game, not a lot effective. 35 carries, $120, serviceable. 1 touchdown total on the ground. No George Pickens in that game. Picked off Jameis Winston 2 times. Steelers are a problem. And next week in Philadelphia, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Buccaneers, 28-13. Also had a interesting parlay yesterday, which did have the Buccaneers in it. The Buccaneers get over 20.5 points, paired up with the Philadelphia Eagles scoring over 2.5 touchdowns, which means 3 total touchdowns, which they got. The Eagles didn't even kick a field goal. So I was going to go, should I go team total or just touchdowns? They got their 3 touchdowns. And then also the Miami Dolphins had to get over 18.5 points. They got that. So again, different ways to try to bet some of these games to make some money. That's the way you do it. But the Buccaneers got to win 7-6. Now the favorites in the NFC South to win that division. How about that? Seahawks and the Cardinals. I thought the Cardinals would win that game, honestly. Zach Charbonnet, though, 22 carries, $134, and 2 touchdowns in that game. Sensational stuff, man. Jackson Smith and Jigba, really earning his high status as a quality college wide receiver now into the pros with a good wide receiving core. 5 for 82 and a touchdown that game. Cardinals never got started. 24-10 at the break, just could not recover. Bills and the Rams, game of the day, maybe the game of the year. If you just like pure excitement, and if you are a total bettor, which means odds and also the game itself, what did this game not provide? Josh Allen had 6 touchdowns yesterday. Threw 3, ran for 3. Incredible. But when you take a look at Matthew Stafford and what he can do when he's hot, 23 of 30, 320 and 2 touchdown passes. Oh, you know what? That's a good day. But look at the wide receiver. Cooper Kupp, 8 targets, caught 5, 92 yards, and a touchdown. Puka Nacua. You want to just talk about a phenom right out of the gate? What he did as a rookie, and now that he's healthy again in his sophomore season, 12 receptions on 14 targets for $162 and a touchdown. And oh yeah, Puka also ran one in for a touchdown. So he had 3 rushing touchdowns for Los Angeles and 3 for the Buffalo Bills in a 44-42 game. And the Buffalo Bills, they lost some headwinds there in the AFC because the Kansas City Chiefs do what they do. Just do the bare minimum and move on. Oh, we got a double-digit lead? Let that disappear because I'll go down and score anytime I want Patrick Mahomes. And that ball hit off the left upright and in. That was incredible to watch that play out. But the NFL never ceases to amaze me. We just love it more when we win money like we did yesterday. Let's flip it over to Monday Night Football next, right here on the Sports Grid Network. I'm Donnie Rightside on a solo mission.
Get a chum or something. I already gave the summer.
SportsGrid is available on the radio, internet, TV, satellite, and our mobile app.
If you're not getting it,
ask the nerdy kid next door. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. SportsGrid Radio presents Gridiron Greats.
And the Green Bay Packers are going to be world champions.
Quarterback Bart Starr led the Green Bay Packers to the NFL's first 2 Super Bowls. During the 1960s, Green Bay won a total of 5 championships. In the 1967 Ice Bowl versus the Cowboys, Starr scored the winning touchdown on a quarterback keeper in the waning seconds.
Takes the snap. He's got the quarterback taken. He's into the touchdown, and the Packers are out in front.
For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Grady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
Do you think that Bruce Pearl will drop dead coaching basketball? So I'm watching this guy coach last night, and he was purple. I mean, my man turns purple when he's coaching, and he's sweating like Fred Flintstone. And I'm like, I think he's going to drop dead coaching, which is probably where he wants to go, wouldn't you think?
It's Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge, the SportsGrid Radio Network. Newsflash, Sporto.
The pandemic is over.
Now you can roam free and do whatever you want. And with the SportsGrid mobile app, we'll be right there with you.
just take it easy. They'll confiscate your phone in jail.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Right back at it, people. Final segment here. Let's take a look at Monday Night Football tonight. As I said, I already have a couple plays out at RightSideVP on Twitter/X. You'll see them now. But I'm just taking a look right now at FanDuel because I don't want to rip around. We don't have too much time. Passing props in this game. I do think we have a good one tonight. And by the way, these numbers on FanDuel are streaking. They really are. Joe Burrow was minus 185, I think, this morning on the early line to throw 2 touchdown passes. He's already up to minus 220. Like, these numbers are ripping and running. Cooper Rush, I believe, was 230 this morning. Passing prop, he's now up to 234.5. And this is only in a matter of an hour 15 minutes. Joe Burrow is still holding tight at 270.5. But I do think we get juice. But also, as I told you, I think the parlay for my SGP for Bet365, I think I had Joe Burrow on minus 190 when I put it in. And that was only, roughly an hour ago now, because I did it during the early line. Again, he's up to minus 220, which I do think makes some sense. And we are expecting points tonight. The receiving props, they are changing quite a bit. Now, I was thinking about this because Brandon Cooks this morning, I think was, I want to say 26.5. He's already up 3 yards on FanDuel over the past hour. So I'm trying to just change some things here to get a site that's going to bring up everything combined. Okay, there we go. So let me go receiving yards. I just want to get a look if everybody's ripping this much here so far this morning. Cooks, some of these are offshore. So Bookmaker, we're not going to look at those ones here. Where's Bet365, 28 on Cooks. Fanatics has him at 30.5 now. Let's see. FanDuel, 29.5, as I just said. DraftKings still 27.5. So he's running, which, again, I don't mind that because I was thinking about taking him just straight because it's so light. But now if he's going to run up around that 30 price point, now I can try to figure him in at Fanatics and get him over 20 yards. That's still a decent price. So Brandon Cooks is going to be on my radar tonight. The question is going to be look how expensive these top wide receivers are. I believe they're up as well. T. Higgins at 73.5 as the number 2 wideout. Jamar Chase at 82.5. To see why we're looking at tonight saying, boy, what's that Dallas Cowboys defense going to do to slow down those wide receivers? Apparently nothing, which is why I like Micah Parsons to get a sack tonight. Joe Burrow is going to throw the football 35-plus times. He does take sacks, specifically on third down. That's why I like him to get sacked tonight by Micah Parsons. Hopefully that happens sooner than later so we can really get down. But a lot of these, Jake Ferguson's coming back off of a concussion, the tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. He's at 37.5. That's one of those numbers you might be going low. But when you think about it, there's a lot more hands to feed here now. CeeDee Lamb, 66.5. Cooks, 29.5. Jalen Tolbert, 25.5. Jake Ferguson, 37.5. You saw those backup tight ends while Ferguson was out, performed decently there. They'll be in the mix as well. The running back game is interesting to me because you do have Chase Brown and Rico Dowdle as the lead dogs in that backfield. How much running are we doing tonight? Because I do think Rico Dowdle gets a fair shake in the backfield. I really do. 67.5. And again, it's one of those where I'm not going to be taking at that level. I'm going to be taking these guys to go a little bit lower. So maybe it's 40 and 40 for both of those guys, but I don't even think that's worth it. Also, if you're looking from a receiving perspective, the tight ends, as I was talking about Ferguson, Mike Gesicki's only 24.5. And how many mouths are we going to feed? How much are we going on? Which is why and again, it looks like I'm getting some CLV grade already because the numbers that we took for over 1.5 touchdown passes on Burrow, Cooper Rush to throw a touchdown and 200 yards, that's obviously moving higher as well. So we got a pretty good price point on those. Which sometimes in those games, I don't know anybody out there, and unless you are super contrarian, that you are hammering unders tonight in this game. And you might even say, well, Donnie, what do you think about the side itself? I'll tell you, I honestly think the Cowboys cover this football game, but I'm not willing to bet money on that. We've all been there, right? It's what you call lean. I'm not laying any points with the Cincinnati Bengals on the road, even if I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are that good. And the Dallas Cowboys tend to get absolutely smashed at home. 49.5, now up to 50s across the board. There's not very many people looking at this game tonight saying, I think this is a dead under. Perfect conditions in Dallas, Dome Stadium, fast track, big-time wide receiver weapons against defenses that are vulnerable, to say the least. I think we're going to be in for a good night. Now, I am going to put something together tonight for those wide receivers and for those tight ends. I don't know if we're going to include any touchdown props because by the way, they're expensive as well. Let me just do a quick rip around here on FanDuel. Chase Brown, minus 165. Jamar Chase, minus 150. Dowdle, minus 120. Higgins, plus 115. CeeDee Lamb, plus 145. You're not getting a ton there. But we will have action tonight, and I think it's going to be a profitable night, no doubt about it. Follow me at RightSideVP on Twitter/X for JP behind the wheels of steel. I'm Donnie Rightside. Thanks for tuning in. Moneyline will continue tomorrow on a Tuesday.
the wife and kids.
But only we understand you.
We're your buddy.
Get the winning edge. Keep it here. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.